Coach Saturday, you've shown up for Colts game days hundreds of times over the past 20 plus years. How do you describe, though, the emotion, the excitement of driving in for your first game at Lucas Oil Stadium as the coach?
Yeah, probably more nervous than before, right? I feel like I have a whole lot less control than I used to. You can't go out there, and so just putting something out there that these guys have worked so hard for. You hope they play like they've practiced, because they've had 3 great days. Couldn't be more proud of the effort and the energy they put out, and so. But yeah, the tension is real. That you want those guys to go out and show the world how everything's been going in-house.
Going into this game against Philadelphia, you actually had a full week in the building.
Yes, yes.
What was something you prioritized or emphasized this week with having a little bit more time to just focus on football?
Yeah, we moved through the game plan pretty quickly, in all honesty, and I felt like we were much more settled on Thursday evening than we were the week before, and that's just from having that extra day. I thought the coaches were well prepared, had a great plan put in, and again, I felt like the guys, they picked it up fast. The speed of practice, the tempo of practice kind of flying around. I felt like those were things, and I told them last night, I felt like week 1 we had 2 really good days of practice. I felt like this week we had 3, and that's your goal, right? To hit 3, and then obviously the walkthrough is what it is. That's just a mental day, but those 3 days, I felt like those guys all, what we were focused on each day, they pinpointed, they were very accurate and executed it well, and so now we just hope we go out and play like we did, we practiced it.
And one of the areas you had great success with last week was establishing that lead early on and commanding an offensive rhythm. How critical of a factor will that be in particular this week going up against a very opportunistic defense and then also that high-powered Eagles offense?
No doubt. And listen, if you look at their second quarter stats alone, I can't remember what it is, but it's astronomical how many points they put up on people and how few they've given up. And so starting fast, establishing the line of scrimmage, making sure you're not giving up explosive plays, trying to force turnovers and not turn it over. I mean, listen, this team in particular has feasted on forcing turnovers and starting fast. And I told those guys, you have to match that intensity and then get to the fourth quarter. And it's like any other NFL game. If you get to the fourth quarter and it's a tight ball game, everybody has a shot. But you can't win a game in the first quarter. You can dang sure hurt yourself in the first quarter trying to come back. So I told those guys, starting fast and just executing. It doesn't have to be perfect, but executing early is going to be a key for us.
You mentioned their offense. Jalen Hurts, one of 4 quarterbacks in the league that has 20-plus total touchdowns. He's on pace for 26 passing touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns in 2022. You mentioned earlier this week, with a quarterback like that, it's got to be 11 on 11. It's not 10 on 11 like you can be with some offenses.
Correct.
You mentioned the explosive plays. How much of their offensive success and your defensive success comes down to limiting those big plays? No, and they're going to get some,
yes,
but you got to take care of the big ones.
Yeah, no, it's enormous. And if you think about Hurts, I think the thing that was, he was probably, when I was working for ESPN, I said he was the biggest question mark in the NFC of how he would play, and Tua was for the AFC, because if both those guys figured it out and played well, these were Super Bowl contending teams. And Hurts has more than met that challenge, right? I mean, even in the first half of the season, you saw him. He beat teams from the pocket when they kept him in. He's beat teams with his legs. He's beat people with explosive plays. He's done everything you can ask of a quarterback to do. And what we talked about from a team perspective is limit them. They're going to get them. Brown's is a beast. Smith is a beast. They have a great running game, one of the best offensive lines. They're going to get yards. And there's, don't get down on yourself if they have a play. Reset, come back to the next play. But it's limiting those things. And then when you have your opportunities, you mentioned opportunistic. They feast on forcing turnovers. You get a tip or an overthrow, you have to get them. And defenses always say, with those you got to get those. That's what's going to be instrumental for us. If we can get some of those, turn the momentum our way, then you feel like you really have a shot. But you're going to give up some. It's how you can limit them and cap them from being touchdowns.
Philadelphia, top 5 in total offense and total defense,
yeah,
and a lot of it comes down to elite play up front on
yes,
both sides of the ball. Last week, you really emphasized being the most physical football team. How much will that be true yet again and also put to the test this afternoon?
Yeah, it's always true, right? Like, and I've made mention, I'm not ever going to mix words on that. You need to control the line of scrimmage on both sides, and that why is Philadelphia 8-1, right? Because that's what they do. They have dominated up front defensively. They have dominated up front offensively, and so you have to meet that intensity and that challenge. And I challenge both of our groups. Again, you know they're going to have good plays. It's understanding what it is, but you have to have those same type of plays. So offensively, if we have to match, you got to go get explosive plays. Defensively, if you have a chance and you're in a one-on-one, you got to go make that play. And so all of us understand the mission ahead. Mission of the week was to beat the Eagles. We understand what that is, and that's controlling the line of scrimmage. And that's not going to change from now until January, whenever I am. That's going to be said for sure.
One thing on an off-the-field note, your 3 kids, I know they're in school across 3 different states, but will you get to have your family for your home coaching debut here at Lucas Oil Stadium?
Yes, they are. Well, 2 of the 3 kids. My wife is here. My 2 of my 3. My son had a game last night, so he wasn't able to come here. But he's cheering us on. He texted me and called me. Jeff is, he's in Chapel Hill. But my daughter Savannah and Josh will be here. Karen will be here, and then our nieces and nephews. We have a ton of those. My sister, my parents. So we have a great crew, a great turnout, and friends from the area will be here. So I'm excited to see everybody. Listen, this is home. So couldn't be more fired up for that.
So excited for you, excited for this game. Best of luck, Coach Saturday.
Thanks so much.